Hey, it's Mark Ferguson with Invest for More, and we had an exciting night last night. We had some huge thunderstorms come through our area, and they did do damage to some of our properties. So today we spent driving around properties, looking at the area, assessing roofs and hail. There's mounds of hail all over. Luckily, my personal house just got a ton of rain, ton of lightning, but no real hail, so it did not get damaged. But some of our properties further on the east side of town definitely got some damage, and roads are still closed in parts of town because of all the water and hail all over the place. So it's an exciting day. Luckily, we have insurance on the properties that got damaged, but we have some larger properties that may be very expensive because of what is going on, including the Ocho and the Complex, which are my two dramatic properties as well. I have quite a few projects around town. We just finished with this flip, and this is just a picture I took of it because it's okay. There's no damage, although there was some hail in this area. I think it was just a little bit farther east, and most of it obviously melts right away, but there's still tons of hail, the next morning after this happened in some of the harder hit areas. And someone who works in my office actually had some crazy footage of some of that hail from last night. We also stopped by the Laundromat, which is okay, but if you can see that truck in front of it, it is covered in leaves and has hail damage, unfortunately. The Laundromat, of course, had issues. We have a dryer that just won't stop spinning. No matter if the door's open, shut, if it has quarters in it or not, it just goes and goes and goes. It doesn't have heat, but it just keeps spinning. We also had a washer freak out on us, but we got some new parts yesterday, and we're able to fix a few things as well. So anybody who thinks the Laundromat is passive is lying to you. It is definitely not passive. But unplugged a few wires, and that stopped. Here's another flip we're working on that's getting closer to being done, the skate park flip. It's taking a while. Had some kitchen delivery problems with Home Depot. Hopefully we get those figured out. That one is fine too, definitely very muddy and wet, but no damage. Doesn't look like it got much hail there at all, so that was good to see too. Here's another flip we haven't started working on yet. We're in fact just starting the demo. We have started, just barely started. It needs a new roof anyway. The insurance is not going to cover that as it was just completely trashed before, and it didn't look like it was too bad either at this flip. So far, nothing too crazy with our houses. Driving down, this is 8th Avenue in Greeley. We've actually got another property here, which I planned to flip, but we actually ended up renting it out, and we've had this for a little while. It was more in the hail zone, and it looks okay, but we would need to get that roof checked out. Anything in the hail zone, need to get the roof checked out. You can see the white stuff on the ground is not snow. It is not fluffy cotton from trees or a stuffed animal that got destroyed by a dog. That's piles of hail still, 10, 12 hours after the hail storm. So there was a lot of hail, and all the leaves on the street you can see were smashed from the hail onto the street. I also have my little restaurant over here on the left that is for sale. We've had a couple people who wanted to rent it or buy it, and then for some reason it fell through. It's kind of sitting on a hill, and it's kind of sitting above, so it was fine, no issue there. Also probably want to get that roof checked out though. But down here they had lots and lots of flooding. And then here on the left is the news actually setting up. That road's totally flooded, completely inaccessible. And you can see some cars that got stuck and flooded out there probably from last night. And of course there's hail all over down here too. This is another one of my properties that you can see the leaves everywhere. Those are not supposed to be there. But this property, the county's been giving me a ton of issues because they want me to regrade it and do all kinds of work with grading and different stuff. It did fantastic. Everything's flooded around it, and the only part that's really got standing water is right next to the road, and that's actually the county or the state's property because it's a state highway, not mine, that has sitting water in it. Here's another one of my properties. It's got a little more water in it, but like I said, there's water everywhere. They got 4 inches of rain in a couple of hours here. Obviously, we'd want to check out this roof too. This property for any other damage. You can still see hail laying around, all the leaves everywhere. That place is fully rented. We thought about selling that too. It's not for sale now. Quite a few properties I've thought about selling, but it's tough to sell multifamily right now with interest rates so high. And this property was actually for sale too. It was a pretty good deal. It sold right away. But there you can see the piles of hail still up against the building, the piles of hail all along there. And yes, not only do you have to plow snow in Colorado, but you have to plow hail as well sometimes. And it's important to know, if you live on the north side of the street, your hail will melt faster than if you live on the south side of the street because of the way the sun hits. So it's not just true with snow, it's also true with hail melting as well. That yard was completely flooded, inundated with water, and you can see there's a lot of it still. So Colorado is a very dry, arid spot, at least where we're at. We get maybe 14 to 15 inches of precipitation a year, so very dry. So when we get 4 inches in a couple hours, the ground doesn't know what to do with it. So it can stick around a little bit and have some issues. And you can see hail there. And I've got another property right up here. These are all kind of in the same area. And this one too. This one has a flat roof. Those tend to hold up a little better, but we can get that one checked out too and see what the damage is there. Insurance should cover all of these roofs if they are damaged. We might have to pay deductibles, which probably range from like $1,000 to $5,000 in some of the bigger ones. And of course, we stopped by Kersey, the laundromat, which is okay. But my car wash is leaking again, the one we just rebuilt. So that was pretty frustrating, and I'm not sure what is going on. It still works, but it's definitely not a good practice to just have water all over your back room of the car wash. Oh, that was the picture I sent. And then someone stole our air freshener in the bathroom. Who steals an air freshener? I'll show you what we have. We have these little things where you put a can in it, it sprays air freshener out every 5 minutes or something. Someone stole it. Come on, people. And then this is frustrating too, because I asked my guy to fix this vent weeks ago, multiple times, and it's still not connected. So I was not happy with that. As you can see, there's lint everywhere. That is not how we want things. Also, we're supposed to clean up all that. So we've been having some continuing issues with that, and not good. So we'll try and get all that fixed, but it's been frustrating trying to get all that fixed for a long time. And then here we have more water that is unfortunately a business, mostly flooded, with all their equipment mostly flooded. And this is a pretty large area that was impacted by this. So there's a lot of damage, gonna be a lot of insurance claims. And with insurance, they usually call them catastrophic events like this. So if you have a catastrophic event, if you've got water damage, hail damage, it usually doesn't count against you as like a claim. Well, you file a claim, but if you file a bunch of claims without weather-related catastrophic events, sometimes it can count against you. And if you have too many claims, it might drop you, raise your insurance, etc. But if you have claims during these events, then it doesn't count against you. And so you really want to be careful with how many claims you file. You don't want to file a claim for everything. But if you do have damage like this, it won't hurt you. You can file claims, get everything paid. Not nearly as big of a deal as it could be in a different situation. And then we have another one of my properties over here on the left as we head over closer to the Ocho to see how bad it is there. The pinkish building right there is mine. And that semi-truck on the side is actually mine too. I don't know if I mentioned that before, but I bought it. It came with a deal for some reason. When I bought it, they had to make something work out, and I own that trailer. All right, here we're getting closer to the Ocho. You can see the leaves and everything everywhere, which is obviously not a good sign. This house is right behind us, and they have multiple dumpsters there. So they're doing, look at those tires, oh boy. They are cleaning out a ton of their backyard. So here's the Ocho with its garages. You can see hail all over, and we did have multiple tenants telling us they had water in their units, and we'll show you that and what happened. So it's not the best thing in the world, but it could have been way worse too. We bought this a couple of years ago. Maybe it's almost 3 now. That's crazy. And it had a brand new roof put on it before we bought it. And so we could be putting another new roof on it, and that's an expensive one. And this is supposed to be grass. Those are all leaves and branches from the tree next door. So that is from the hail, obviously. Tons of damage there. And then what happened was we have these lower level units with a pump that shoots water out of that tube. And we've never had an issue as long as we've owned this property. But there was just too much water, and it ended up flooding a couple of the units, but not badly. That is not a great sign. That black stuff on the sidewalk were roof granules. So hail, obviously. So if a lot of our roof is on the sidewalk, that's not good. And we have a lot of roof on this property. Here's another, this is kind of the boiler room where we have a floor drain. That one also backed up and got water into this apartment right here. So again, it wasn't awful. It wasn't like feet of water, just a little bit of water. That's all hail piled up against the side of the building. That's all hail piled up there too. I haven't been back here for a while. I'm not sure what is going on with that rat's nest of, I think those are cable wires right there. But you can see just a little bit of hail from this storm. And one thing that matters too, you can have lots of hail and it won't damage your property if it's small. I just randomly grabbed a chunk, and that's pretty good size hail, especially considered it's been melting. So and one of the units, there's water coming in from the door. There's even water coming in from the roof, which is not supposed to happen. So we think maybe it was coming through a vent because the rain was just blowing sideways. We're not sure. We have those vents checked out. We have those vents checked out. Some guys over there to get all that water sucked up. Got fans over there. Water coming out of the outlet, which I think is so weird. That's coming into the roof. Because it's not supposed to be. That's not the proper drain channel that this building was designed to have. So, we get everything dried out, everything checked out. We'll go back with moisture meters and everything and see how bad the sheetrock is. Again, this could be part of our insurance claim too. Any interior damage, clean up, etc. that we have to do. So we'll see how bad it all is. And then, of course, here is one of the roads that was completely blocked. This is only 2 or 3 blocks from the Ocho. And this is actually the route I usually take to get there. And obviously, we were not going that direction and could not leave that direction. And that guy's standing in the water up to his knees almost. So it's pretty deep. That area always has some drainage issues. Obviously, it can't quite handle that much rain, that's for sure. And so many of the houses just have tree damage, hail damage. I'm sure they have roof damage, maybe even paint damage. There could be, I haven't seen any broken windows. I don't know if the hail is quite that big, but definitely you can see the Ocho just right if you looked really hard down that street. All right, then we made our way to the complex, which is a 7-unit property I own. And hail against it too, not quite as bad as the Ocho, but it took off the paint on our building. So it was coming in sideways, and that did some damage there. And honestly, that isn't like too big of a deal. We can touch that up, patch that up pretty quick. The bigger deal would be the roof. And we do have our dumpster on our concrete pad now. Of course, that didn't happen until I personally picked it up and set it on there myself because the trash company didn't do it. And anyway, long story short. While I was here too, there were some guys trying to look at one of the units and rent it. And they were from Haiti and didn't speak English. And that was interesting because I don't think their Spanish translated quite the same as the Google Translator Spanish. And I was trying to tell them to talk to our property management person who handles that and speaks Spanish. And I spent way too much time on that to learn they don't have credit scores and thought a 600 credit score meant they only had to pay 600 in rent. And yeah, there's a reason why I don't show our rentals and deal with that side of it. But lots of leaves. This is also a new roof from 3 years ago. So we'll have to get this one checked out. That also is a very expensive roof with 3 different roofs. So we'll see what happens there. We also have a tenant here who, if you following, hasn't paid rent. We went to mediation, trying to evict. We have some new news on that coming up soon, which is not what I expected at all. which we will tell you about in an upcoming video. And we're checking the laundry room too to see if there's any money here. And I'm sorry for getting a close-up of my fingers. My kids own these machines, and they haven't been doing very good, mostly because some tenants keep trashing the laundry room, and those tenants are not getting their lease renewed either. So you might find a common theme on some of these properties, and unfortunately, that's just how real estate works sometimes. But a little bit of money in there, not a ton. So that was the damage from the storms. It could have been much worse. We'll definitely have some insurance claims. I'm thinking unless by some miracle those roofs are okay. But we've got quite a few properties that were in the way of the storm, had hail piled up along them, and if the roofs aren't damaged, we might get away with not filing any claims, which is preferable. Even with a catastrophic thing, I don't know, I just prefer not to file claims if I can. But if the roofs are damaged, we definitely want to file claims, get those fixed, get those replaced, and then hopefully we don't have to do it too often after this. But this is Colorado. We get lots of hail. Our county, Weld County, actually has the most tornadoes in the country, but they're very small tornadoes and almost never do damage, so we don't hear about that too much, but the hail definitely can do some damage. All right, we'll have updates on this coming up. We'll have updates on the laundromat, liquor store, other businesses, rentals, flips, all that too. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think, and we'll be back.